2025 is officially over in 3 days as of recording this. But regardless, we are at the finish line. I have learned a lot as a content creator, but also as an artist, an up-and-coming entrepreneur, and so much more. One of the greatest things I've experienced over the course of this year is the art of writing letters, its sentences and phrases, or as normal people call, writing. Writing is the thing that I build this channel on. It's my favorite thing in the world, and it's the thing that I aspire to in the idea of success. I want to be one of the world's greatest writers simply by the act of writing itself. I've grown in that fact, as you've seen over the course of this year, and I want to talk about everything that I've learned in these 365 days. I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but I genuinely wrote something down, whether a sentence or a paragraph, every single day of 2025. Whether that be in the form of typing, writing, even just brainstorming ideas. I've done this all whether physically or literally typing it out. Here's what I learned for better and worse, and what I want to change moving into 2026. Hello, if you don't know me, my name is Arnel Arcega. I'm one of the healthiest authors and writers on this platform. As such, I educate people on how to read and write so that they can not only improve their language and literature, but also become better writers in the long run. If you want personal help, then check out my Instagram down the link in the description so I can personally help you write your own books. Along with that, check out my books down there as well. For now, let's get into the topic of writing and why this matters most in our day and age. Ever since the start of 2025, I made it clear that writing is the thing that I should absolutely focus on. There's so many levels to writing that I have to break it down in the best way I can. Book writing, typing, journaling, even songwriting to the extent. And I've done all 4 of those categories in one way or another. Let's start with book writing. Now, this isn't a literal book. This is my art book. But in the case of book writing, this is what I'll use to describe the process. Book writing, or typing away my thoughts, is exactly what I chose this year. At the end of 2024, last year, I finished my book, A Small World Smiles, and I got into the end of the process pretty well. While it's the shortest book I've written, it's one that I understood will probably be my worst book for a good while. It's because of the fact that I spent so much time on it, nearly 8 months writing that first book, that I knew I had to do something better. Therefore, I came up with the idea of my second novel, Artist v. Critic. Once again, you could check out all these books down the link in the description, but for those who have read the novel, it is a brutally honest tale about brothers that despise but deep down love each other. I've learned that I can do a lot more in my writing. I can write in different perspectives, be able to type away my thoughts, and come up with better ideas, both for here on YouTube, but also what I can do to tell stories in the future. One of my friends described the book as a weird, very psychedelic experience, and when I look back on that period, it certainly was. There was times in which I slacked off in my own writing, and while I did work on that book nearly every day from the period of January to July, it took up a good portion of my year that, when I consider book writing as a whole, not my proudest moment. However, during the second half of 2025, my greatest achievement has finally hit me, and one that I will remember for the rest of my life. The Winning Complex is my third novel, and of all the ones that I want to genuinely get out there in the world and make it big and popular, this is the one. Over the course of my period of working on Artist v. Critic, I was brainstorming my third novel. My plan before I graduate is to write 5 full books and then publish them all the second I turn into an adult, which is a great goal but seems pretty unrealistic. That is why I wanted to spend my time crafting these stories as best as possible. And the way I do this is by book writing. I type it away like a script, but slowly but surely make it into the books you see behind me here. With that in mind, I've understood the process of book writing, and with the Winning Complex being my third go-around in this craft, I wanted to be able to impress myself. So I drew different ideas, I drew character designs, I drew different world building elements, and writing this all down in my notes here, such as my notebooks and my journals, made me realize how much I love the art of book writing. And this period from August to November is one of the greatest periods of my life because of the winning complex. This changed my life forever as I just typed it away, and I told one of the best stories I can. It's one I don't want to spoil, and one I would absolutely suggest you read. If you don't care too much about me, but you want to read at least one of my books, then do The Winning Complex. It's about a reality TV show going berserk and the host losing his mind over the course of the book. It's a beautiful, sincere story that I was hugely inspired off of in stories like Squid Game or Battle Royale. These examples in which we see survival of the fittest, one that made me not only become a better writer, but a better creator in the long run. That sums up my book writing process of 2025. And while I've only written 2 books, it's double than what I did last year. To say the least, I'm satisfied, and my goal for 2026, moving into that process of being more of an author, is to write my next 2 books. My 4th novel is called It Always Happens on Sunday, following a zombie apocalypse and a punk rock band. The book after that, I've already planned, is the sequel to A Small World Smiles, called That Comedian. It takes place 10 years after that book, and hopefully over the course of 2026, I officially get A Small World Smiles published, both as a way of getting it out in the real world, but also adding new elements with the hindsight I have in mind. Let's talk about note-taking and how that impacted my own writing. Even though I'm still in the school education process, my ability to take notes certainly got better. This was my first ever journal I've had all the way back in 2023. To say the least, I used this quite a bit during the summer period, but also eventually came back to it in my own school. I don't do note taking as much, but I made it so much more minimal nowadays. One of my favorite examples is my journal that I've been doing over 2025, in which I went over all the things that happened in December, as well as everything I want to improve on. It's important to note take every single day, as the more you are actively being specific on what you're doing, the better at your craft you become. You are able to educate yourself more, you take ideas in mind with you, and being able to pick up a pen, whether feathered or not, and start writing your own ideas is what moves you into the future. I know I took a lot of note-taking when I'm bored during class, and it helped me write the books, the journals, and even the songs I have out there in the world. Speaking of which, let's talk about journals. This year was huge into me about journaling, and I absolutely adore the process. Both in the case of the lucky day here, which is what I titled my journal, but also these ones in the back here. As I reorganize my desk, I've made it clear that I want to focus less on showing off everything in one area and more to having a clean slate. That is why I put my journals up here, in reminding myself of the days that happened, but also appreciating all the moments that I do. I use it mostly for goals, things I'm grateful for, my thoughts at the given day, or what I can improve on the following day. I know with certain that writing hasn't been perfect. I've had my ups and downs with it, but the best thing about writing is the consistency. By being consistent in journaling, I'm able to go into my book writing a lot more often. It is the thing I'm most passionate about. And even in cases here, I can do songwriting and scripting. To be able to get better in all kinds of writing is what makes you a fantastic writer. Not just in one niche, but as many niches as possible. I know I like to be the top of this specific niche, but you have to be able to expand yourself. And in December 2025, my last big thing that I did in terms of writing is songwriting. This is one that I didn't physically write down as I typed it in my computer, but you could check out all the songs I've written down the link in the description, as I made it clear that I love songwriting. I'll get more into detail about this on my second channel, in which I posted all the songs you can see. But in short, I spent the past 30 days writing an album, and I'm satisfied with it. I made an album and a statement about plastic, love, and other weird things, to the point where I can say, even though I can't sing for shit, I am grateful for what I've made. And I use all kinds of writing not only as a way to get better, but also as a way to educate myself in more directions than one. The Right to Write by Julia Cameron is one of my favorite books here. And while I don't have it physically on me, as I left it in a different room. One quote that stood out to me was the idea of writing for the sake of writing. I know there are people and content creators out there writing because they want to sell a product. And me too, to be perfectly honest. I want to sell you guys this product of my books. But I despise the idea of these content gurus selling books on how you can improve every little aspect, when in all actuality, you're wasting more time than you think. Yes, it is good to educate yourself, but you should absolutely educate yourself in fields that you want to learn about. And fiction is included in this. People look down at fiction because it's a distraction, but I'm telling you, a lot more ideas come from fiction. Some of my best writing are fiction. And while I plan to write more nonfiction books in the future, I know with certainty that I want to be a better storyteller. Using my areas of writing in all different kinds of notebooks and journals here, I want to be able to share to the world that we can change things with our words. We can make ourselves smarter, make ourselves appreciate the things around us, and in particular, learn about things we never thought we could have. I, for one, didn't think I would get into songwriting this year. I genuinely thought it was something that I'd push to the side until I'm older. But it's when I picked up the pen now and started writing these poems, different ideas, and different languages, that I find myself loving the process again and again. It reminds me of that period in my life where I wrote a whole poem based on this bad breakup I had with a friend. And even though it's been years since then, I remind myself of those memories. To be able to remind yourself of what you did every day, to write down your goals, to write down who you're appreciative of, life becomes brighter. Life becomes so much more free and simple. And in a way, everything becomes more colorful in writing. That's why I love talking about it. That's why you love learning from someone like me. And while I'm young, the truth about writing is that we have a lot more in store. So pick up the pen. Do what you want in writing. This can relate to any and all kinds of media that involves writing characters, whether that's comic books, movies, songwriting, book writing, journaling, typing, anything that comes to mind. If you have an idea to write, then go for it. Absolutely don't shy away from writing the best idea you can. And if you want more help to become the best possible writer, then check out my Instagram down the link in the description. You have what it takes, and now pick up the pen. I hope you enjoyed today's video. While less educational than I anticipated, it's one where I can reflect on and appreciate. I love how far I've come along in this 2025 journey, and I'm excited to continue pursuing art and creativity into the future. Check out my books down the link in the description, along with my other socials down there as well. I am Arnel Arcega, and until next time, keep on reading, keep on writing, and take care.